All right, so today I'm going to teach you how to lock in and actually start progressing in whatever you want and to be more productive and to actually get things done. Sometimes it probably feels like no matter how hard you try to just lock in and start focusing, you just can't. Like, your brain doesn't allow you to do so. And even if you do make some pretty good progress, a lot of the time you'll make the progress and then you'll just end up where you started. And it seems like you can only make so much progress until you just reset to where you started. So the first very important thing you want to know about just improving your focus, starting to just change your life starting today, is to make improvements from taking things out of your life. See, right now, if you're in a bad spot, the biggest thing you can do to make progress super fast is to start taking the things out of your life that hold you back and keep you in this bad spot, not to start adding things in. See, right now, you probably feel super overwhelmed on what to do, what to focus on, and what advice to follow. You're probably confused on what you should work on, what advice you should listen to, what you should do first, how you should balance out certain things throughout the day. You probably just feel overwhelmed on how you should improve and what you should do. See, when we're overwhelmed, confused, and our brains are just fried from instant gratification, the last thing we need is just more information and more things to add into our life. So the biggest changes we can make are from taking things out of our life that basically hold us back. So the first step to locking in, getting your shit together, and just starting to make big changes to your life is to build a good base. Our goal isn't to build a super cool life right now. It's to simply just get out of our bad spot. Once we do that, then we have a good, basically like building point to start adding things into our life. But the goal right now is to just get out of this bad spot. Think of it, before you build a huge building, the first thing you need to focus on is to build a good foundation so all the things you build don't collapse. And this is how our progress is going to be. So let's say here is living a good life and here is living a shit life. We're not trying to suddenly live a good life, right? What we're trying to do right now is simply just not live a bad life. So right now, you're probably in hell. Not literally, obviously, but just an analogy. Hell is here, neutral's here, and heaven's right here. So right now, we're just gonna try and eliminate the things that are keeping us in this hellish type of state. Once we get out of this hellish state right here and we go to the neutral state, that's when we've built a good base. We've pretty much just reset our brain. One of the reasons why so many people have trouble like maintaining their progress or making long-term changes is because they try to get to the heaven state without leaving hell first. If you're, doing drugs, drinking alcohol, playing a shit ton of video games every single day, scrolling on TikTok, watching porn, and you're just depressed and rotting in your room, taking those habits out will improve your life a lot more than doing something like meditating 10 minutes a day, journaling, and maybe doing a short workout. Sure, those things are very helpful and great, but we don't have to worry about those things right now. We just simply need to figure out how we can take these bad habits out of our life first, because those will make the biggest changes right now. The first one is sugar, and I don't think you realize how detrimental this is, but it basically just ruins your stability mentally. If you ever have like big mood swings where you get super angry, or you get super tired out of nowhere, or you have a huge spike in energy, or you get really anxious out of nowhere, there's a good chance that this is coming from a sugar crash. Sugar is a terrible form of energy to eat, and it just makes your brain unstable. Sugar, causes mood swings. It makes you tired or super energetic. It messes with your sleep patterns. It makes your skin worse. It's just horrible for you. But the main thing is that it just affects your brain a lot more than you probably think right now. And this is the last thing we need when we're trying to regain focus in our life and to lock in. And the thing is, your bad habits sort of compound. So if you eat a lot of sugar and you're on a sugar crash, you're more likely to be lazy, sit down and play video games, watch porn, scroll on social media, and do more stupid shit. So simply eliminating one can help you do less of the other bad habits. And one of the worst yet underrated and not talked about ones right now is sugar. If right now you feel like you get angry a lot, you get super anxious, you suddenly just get sad for no reason at all, you get very tired just in the middle of the day for no reason, you get random spikes of energy, your sleep patterns are fucked, and you also notice that you eat a lot of sugar, you need to take that out of your diet. The thing is, your inputs affect your outputs. So the things you do, the things you consume will usually affect the way you feel and the way you act. And one of the biggest things is what you eat, and especially sugar. So you need to eliminate sugar as much as you can. And another thing is also processed foods. And processed foods have a similar effect. They can give you more brain fog, they make you tired, they can give you a random spike in energy. They just basically reduce stability and consistency in the way you're feeling. So the easiest thing you can do, like right now or today, is to just start eating a more simple, less processed diet. So there's no specific diet you should follow, but just eat single ingredient foods. So these are pretty much just foods that are not processed. Now, I don't expect you to change your diet around, in 3 days, but try to make one small change every day to make your diet a little bit cleaner. So to quit sugar, I recommend you follow the 30-day principle. So basically, right now you have a sugar addicted brain. Your brain is hooked onto sugar and junk food, right? So telling yourself, okay, I'm gonna quit sugar forever, your sugar addicted brain isn't gonna like that, and that's gonna seem very impossible to do because you're hooked on sugar right now. But telling yourself, oh, I'm just gonna quit sugar for 14 days or 30 days, that sounds a lot more doable in your head. Now, once you don't eat sugar for like 30 days, you're probably not gonna wanna go back, and that's how you can quit for long term. Because once you don't eat sugar for like 30 days, you're gonna feel so much better, so much more clear in the head, and realistically, you're probably not gonna wanna go back because you realize the difference in how much better you feel. It's gonna be way too overwhelming to try to quit all your bad habits at once, so just give yourself one habit that you wanna focus on each month that you focus on quitting, or at least reducing the amount of the bad habit you do by a lot. So for sugar, for example, what you do is you give yourself 30 days to not consume sugar. So on day one, you're not gonna just completely take all the sugar out of your diet. What you're gonna do is you're gonna progressively deload. So progressively deloading sugar could be done like this. So every day you just eat a tiny bit less sugar than you did the day before. So we're not gonna try to just completely eliminate all the sugar that we eat in one day because that's not maintainable. So day one, you just eat like maybe 10% less sugary foods as you did, the day before. And then once you do that, and if you can complete that, then the next day you make it a little bit harder, the next day you make that a little bit harder, and so on. You could also do this with each week. Maybe it's like week 1, you're only gonna eat 2 sugary snacks with each meal per day. Once you complete that, and if you complete that for every day, then week 2, you only do 1 sugary snack for, with 1 meal per day. And you keep on deloading it as you reach each level. So pretty much just starting off with an easy level, an easy way you can reduce your sugar and processed food intake. And once you reach that small level, you just slowly but surely make it more difficult and fit it into a 30-day timeline. And you can do this with really any bad habit. All right, so the next thing you want to do to build a good base and to start locking in is to quit video games. Now, right now your brain's probably getting triggered because you're sort of addicted to your favorite video game, and you're trying to defend the addiction, and your addicted part of your brain is just trying its best to defend the addiction. But if you play more than like 3 hours a day, just admit it, you're probably somewhat addicted, and it's all good. I don't think video games are the worst, but if you're in a bad spot right now and you don't like where you're at, then it's important that we quit video games and stop playing them. There's a very important reason why. So I think for most guys, there's a thing in our brain called a goal-striving mechanism, and it's pretty much just the part of your brain that seeks out to constantly improve and to achieve goals, right? You probably feel a similar way to me. If you're not like progressing towards a goal and making progress and finding something to work on, you probably feel like you're kind of going insane. You just start to feel anxious, grumpy, neurotic, annoyed really easily when you're not working on anything. I think most of us have this part of us that wants to level up, wants to get good at something, wants to achieve goals and just work towards these goals, right? That's a very important thing because we can use that energy from us, that like goal-striving mechanism from us, towards things that can actually make our life better. But a lot of us just use it for things that make our life worse. It's like a finite sort of energy we have, right? And a lot of us just channel all of that energy we have to achieve goals and to get good at things into useless things like video games. And a lot of us just use it all up on video games because What are video games? Well, you're pretty much just achieving goals. You're reaching new levels, you're getting more kills, you're improving your KD ratio, you're getting more XP. That kind of stuff is like achieving goals. But it's pretty easy. So when we have the option of doing video games versus something more difficult, usually by default, our brain is just going to choose the easy thing because we can kind of get the same feeling of achieving goals without the difficult and hard work. And right now, if you're addicted to video games, you're probably thinking, well, like, oh, I can just do 4 hours of video games and 4 hours of business. But realistically, the sort of monkey part of your brain is not going to really choose the business side that much because you get the same rewarding feeling from the video games. There's no downsides. It's a lot easier. So why are you going to do the business? Why are you going to work just as hard towards the business if it's not as fun and not as exciting? So taking the video games out of our life leaves no option but for us to work hard on different things. So whatever it is, this goal-striving part of us, this part of us that wants to improve, that wants to do better, it's super useful, right? And you don't want to just waste it all on video games. So I recommend you stop playing video games and channel that drive and energy into something that's more important and that can actually improve your life. And this will actually make you want to improve. So that's it for the video game section. They really give you a false sense of achievement and a false sense of improvement because that's what video games are. You level up, you improve, you get better at the game, but it doesn't really translate to your life that much, and it can be a big waste of time. Okay, so the next thing you want to take out of your life is watching porn. So watching this garbage will not only ruin your brain, but it'll just make you weird. So the first way that it just destroys your brain is that it makes it harder to enjoy things because when you watch porn, you get a huge spike in dopamine, which is the reward chemical or the feel-good chemical. And you get a huge spike from doing absolutely nothing. Usually to get this reward chemical, it's from doing something difficult like finishing a workout, recording a video, maybe getting a sale, doing something that you're proud of, accomplishing something. And pretty much the reason why you get dopamine is so you can basically repeat that action again because it feels good and you want to keep doing it, right? We're supposed to get dopamine from like doing something sort of difficult, and then when we finish it, we feel proud of it. But we also get it from doing super easy things, and we get a lot more of it from doing these super easy things that don't benefit us at all, like watching porn. So when you do this, you're gonna be less motivated to work hard on whatever it is, right? It's gonna also be harder to enjoy small things in life when you're addicted to this garbage. And you're pretty much just training yourself to get a lot of the reward chemical from doing pretty much nothing. Especially when you watch porn, here's what happens. So you feel kind of bored, you're kind of sad, right? And you watch porn, and then you get this huge dopamine spike. Once the dopamine spike is over, it goes down a little bit. But now your baseline dopamine, your baseline happiness, is a little bit lower than where you started with. So now that you feel sad again, you're gonna do it again to feel good again and feel sort of happy for a few seconds. So you do it again, your dopamine spikes up again, and then it goes back down, and then now your baseline is even lower. And this keeps on happening, so your baseline is so low that you need so much stimulation to just even feel normal. Now simply just existing feels uncomfortable because you've cooked your dopamine receptors. You keep on basically just making the threshold to feel happy higher and higher as you keep doing something like this. So the reason why we watch porn, just like how we play video games, is there's a part of our brain that seeks out relationships. We want relationships, right? Just like the goal-setting part of our brain. But conveniently, we have very cheap alternatives, like watching porn. Why seek out a relationship when you can just go on the hub? Why, seek out real accomplishment when you can just level up in video games instead? Most of us, we just take the easy way out, which is just to go on the hub, and it temporarily just basically silences the pain we have of being lonely for a bit, right? And the thing is, it temporarily silences it for like a day, but then that pain comes back up again, right? And you realize, okay, I need to get with a girl, I'll just watch porn again to silence this part of my brain. And you keep on doing this, you keep getting stuck in this cycle, and you're just constantly ruining your brain. And this is gonna ruin your self-improvement journey. But when we take that out, now our brain's gonna have to find other ways to pretty much fulfill this relation-seeking part of our brain, right? And this will be through healthier ways, like just actually talking to women, or, going out in the real world and trying to improve your social skills and doing things in your real life. See, now when you take out this short-term or temporary fix, like watching porn, now you're gonna have to seek it through other ways, or else you're gonna kind of go insane. So you're gonna start doing more things in real life, right? You're more likely to do more social things because you could possibly meet women, right? You're more likely to actually, go out and do things in the real world because you actually want to meet women. And when you watch porn, you're more likely to just sit inside all day and do nothing. So quitting is a good way to lock in and start getting your shit together. Also, when you quit, you're gonna fix your brain because it just messes up your brain in so many ways. So the last thing you need to take out of your life is short form content and just really binging any sort of content in general. So when you want to focus on a business or to lock in and start, getting things together, you need to learn how to focus. And watching short-term content is basically doing the opposite. You're teaching your brain not to focus, because with short-form content, you're scrolling, and you're teaching your brain to basically seek out a little hit of dopamine every 5 seconds, which is the opposite of focus, right? Because focus is more like getting no hit of dopamine for a couple hours, and then when you're done and you complete the task, then you get the hit of dopamine and you feel good. So focusing and locking in on something and watching short form content are the complete opposite of each other. See, dopamine is a chemical that your brain releases usually when you do something that you're proud of, like finishing a good workout or achieving something or anything like that. And we usually have to earn it by doing something kind of difficult or something kind of hard. But now we can pretty much just get free dopamine by just scrolling and watching content. So now when you pretty much have the choice of doing something difficult where you get a little bit of dopamine, or doing something that is super easy and takes no effort and you get a lot more dopamine, which one are you probably going to end up choosing? Probably the easy thing, like scrolling on your phone. And this basically destroys your productivity because you pretty much never want to work hard on anything productive. But when you're constantly on social media and TikTok and all that garbage, your threshold to be entertained or to enjoy something is super high, because you're literally doing like the crack of entertainment, right? So taking this out will make it easier to actually work hard on things, because now you can sort of get more of a feeling of enjoyment out of it and you get bored less easily. Also, another reason why we constantly consume a bunch of YouTube videos, YouTube shorts, TikTok, all that kind of stuff, is because we usually feel like we're maybe missing out on something in our life. So we turn to content to kind of substitute that feeling. So right now, if you feel unmotivated, you're probably more likely to go ahead and watch some motivational videos. If you don't feel productive, you're gonna watch some videos that will kind of make you feel productive, like something like this self-improvement video. If you, something like that, right? We usually have feelings that we feel like we're missing out on, so we seek out content to kind of give us that feeling. But this can make your life garbage, because you're basically now completely relying on content to get those feelings, when you have to get those feelings of, motivation, fulfillment, happiness from real life things. So what I recommend is you figure out like what kind of feelings you feel like you're missing out in your life, right? And you just figure out how you can get more of them in real life. All right, so now we know the most important things we need to take out first before we add a bunch of habits into our life, okay? Because taking these out will make the biggest changes, especially when you're in a bad spot. Once we take these out and build a good foundation, then we can start building up our life. But right now, we just simply need to get out of the bad spot. And these things I just listed out, like sugar, short form content, watching porn, and playing video games, those are the main things that usually make your life kind of shit and keep you locked down in the same spot. So right now, just choose one habit that you want to quit. And right now your brain's probably making mental gymnastics like, oh, you don't need to quit, it's not that bad. Just ignore that part of your brain. That's self-sabotage. Just choose one habit. It could be sugar and junk food. It could be video games, porn, whatever. You're gonna quit all of them at some point, or at least make progress on it, but just choose which one you want to limit right now. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna try to reduce it as much as you can within 30 days. And obviously it might take more than 30 days, but the goal is to just eliminate each one one by one within a 30-day time frame. Now, obviously, you don't have to go 100% quitting on these, but I think a lot of the times it's easier just to quit 100% than just to do a little bit, because if you eat a little bit of junk food, you're probably just gonna eat a shit ton. I'm the kind of guy that if I eat one Oreo, I'm gonna eat the whole like box. Okay, so once you choose that one habit, you're gonna make a habit tracker for the week. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna progressively deload. So pretty much you're just gonna limit whatever the habit is a tiny bit today. So if yesterday you scrolled on Instagram for 3 hours, today you're only gonna scroll for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that big of a change, but if you make this small change every day, which is something you can actually sustain, then you'll actually make long-term progress. A lot of us want results right now, so we try to quit everything at once, but it doesn't work. So what I recommend is you just make one small, tiny change every day, and then once you complete that change, if you actually make that change, then you just move on to the next most difficult thing. So today, 2 hours and 45 minutes of short form content. If you manage to do that today, then tomorrow you're gonna be doing 2 hours and 30 minutes of short form content. And this could be with any habit. This could be the same thing with, corn, short form content, playing video games, whatever it is. You just slowly decrease the amount you consume it by every single day. If you notice that making these changes are too difficult, then you wanna make the changes a little bit smaller. So if it's like, okay, I'm only gonna play 3 hours of video games today, but that feels like too big of a jump and you already feel extremely uncomfortable, then maybe make it more like 4 hours and you decrease the amount a little bit less. And sure, the progress will be slower, but at least you can actually stay consistent, which is the most important. And I think this method is good because the most important thing to quitting anything is consistency. It's not about making huge changes at once. It's simply just about staying consistent. And the most important step to making big improvements and to locking in is to get rid of the things that are holding you back. Remember, we're not trying to get to heaven or get to a really cool life. We're simply just trying to get out of our shit spot right now and build a good foundation so we can build up a cool life. Yeah, that's pretty much it. See you in the next one. Bye.